Think about that. Russia is a foreign adversary. Israel is our ally. And Western journalists were not allowed to go in during the ceasefire this past month. Western journalists were not allowed to go in. There was only a couple Western journalists that were allowed, and they were only allowed in one specific area inside of where they were drop shipping humanitarian aid.
Sides continue.
Anyway, yeah. Foreign policy. Russia and Ukraine trade strikes after President Trump's call with Putin discussing a ceasefire.
Says that he made progress in the efforts to end the war in Ukraine in a long phone call.
It's interesting that you used to encourage chatters not to go to doomer route, yet it seems lately that it's close to all I've heard from you. It's not. I'm not telling you to be a doomer. I'm telling you to be aware of what is to come. Okay? There is still mobilization that must opportunity for mobilization. And that's why I urge people to go out and protest. That's why I urge people to resist. Having said that, be ready. You know, I'm telling you what the future looks like. And it's not because I'm, telling you like it's over, it's done. Just, lay your arms down and show your belly like a coward. That's not what I'm saying at all. As a matter of fact, I'm urging the Democrats to also try and actively fight against this on a daily basis. Yeah, it's not doomer when the weatherman tells you it's raining or that it's going to rain tomorrow, or tornado warnings for tomorrow.
Call yesterday with Vladimir Putin. The Russian leader did not agree to Trump's 30-day ceasefire proposal supported by Ukraine. Instead, Putin made his own proposal as both sides continue to bombard each other. Weijia Jiang is at the White House. Weijia, good morning.
Good morning, Nate. Good morning to everybody.
Immigration is the ultimate red herring. They'll constantly increase pressure on this issue that isn't an issue. They'll revoke birthright citizenship, but that will solve nothing. So what's next? Denaturalization. I promise you it's coming. HasanAbi Piker, October 30th, 2018. It's always really interesting when I got so many liberal naysayers, and you will never hear a perspective like this from them ahead of time. As a matter of fact, all the role that they serve is to precisely defend the current cruelty that you are experiencing. Can you start predicting good shit? If good shit was happening, I would. What made you say that in 2018, if you recall? Stephen Miller. That's what made me say that. This is also part of the reason, for those of you who are always for people that say I've changed, my attitude has changed on things, my perspective has changed on things. No, it hasn't. You've changed. You probably started watching some dumbasses and decided that those dumbasses were able to convince you. He hasn't changed. His face got better. That's it. Yep. What is this? I'm a Columbia student in a MESAS grad class currently. I have no clue if this class will be cut by the admin or not, but it's likely. Numerous peers are about to be suspended for simply being around the third encampment, not even participating. Faculty can't even get off their ass to strike, and the entire university is about to be under Trump receivership. Yep. Wall Street Journal says Columbia is negotiating to call the receivership something more palatable and present it as a win. Yeah. No, it's just totally. Columbia is nearing the agreement to give Trump what he wants, according to Wall Street Journal. They're doing it. They're doing it. And they care more about a aesthetic victory. So they will concede, they will yield, and then they will turn around and be like, but see, we got a lot of amenities out of this. We were able to secure our funding.
The two leaders spoke.
A receivership is when an academic institution or specific studies at an academic institution are placed under control by a third party. In this circumstance, an independent third party that the government has designed. It is directly to change the curriculum. It's directly to change what you get to teach at your school. It is a clear-cut violation. It is perhaps another glaringly obvious violation of the First Amendment. Anyway, let's get to the Russia-U.S. ceasefire talks.
Spoke for nearly 2 hours, and the call ended with Vladimir Putin agreeing to a partial ceasefire on energy and infrastructure. The White House views that as important progress, but as you mentioned this morning, both sides are launching fresh attacks.
I think we had a great call.
President Trump was optimistic about the developments following his call with Vladimir Putin, but just hours later, Russia launched an airstrike that sparked fires around Kyiv. It came as Putin agreed to pause all attacks on Ukraine's.
Most of my leftist friends think they win arguments on the border while they're caving on it. Yes, the border is an issue, but actually the Dems are the only ones who want to fix it. What are you saying? You gave up fighting the narrative? Yeah.
Energy infrastructure and committed to further.
Also, your friends are not leftists if they say stuff like that. You have to have some conviction. You have to have a firmly held commitment to some fucking values. And I think protecting migrants, undocumented, documented alike, is that commitment.
Negotiations toward a broader ceasefire and an eventual peace deal. In a social media post, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Russia launched more than 40 drones against Ukraine yesterday, and that only a real cessation of strikes on civilian infrastructure by Russia as proof of its willingness to end this war can bring peace closer. Over the course of the night, Ukraine responded. Russia air defense systems intercepted 57 Ukrainian drones. Earlier, Trump gave this stark assessment of the situation in Ukraine.
Right now, you have a lot of guns pointing at each other, and a ceasefire without going a little bit further would have been tough. Russia has the advantage.
In the readout after his call with Putin, the Kremlin put conditions on any lasting peace, saying all foreign aid and intelligence sharing to Ukraine must stop. William Taylor served as former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine.
The Russians are saying in order for there to be a peace deal, all aid to Ukraine must come to a halt. Is that a realistic outcome here?
No, not at all. And the Ukrainians will never agree to compromise their security by saying.
Yeah. Russia says they agreed to halt energy infrastructure strikes. White House disagrees and says they said energy and infrastructure. So Moscow and Washington already disagree about what they agreed yesterday, but we knew that already because we read the readouts coming from Moscow, and then we read the readouts coming from D.C., and those two readouts were on entirely different playing fields. Now, under normal circumstances, yes, you write stuff that is more favorable to your side as your takeaway from this collaborative relationship as you look to arrive at a ceasefire. But in this circumstance, the dynamic is clear. Vladimir Putin made Donald Trump wait for an hour before he even did the call. He made him actively wait, publicly wait for an hour. And I think it's because Putin understands that Trump has internal pressure in the United States of America. Okay, what is this? This is another older. The free speech conversation is not a serious one. It has legal limitations and vibe-based limits, like when someone openly claims they love Hitler. Nazis also don't believe in free speech. They just want to sucker people into allowing them a seat at the table until they get power. Well, they did, and they got power, and they're here, and they're using that power to literally fucking suppress speech. Art of the deal, more like art of the kneel. Yeah. Trump told Zelensky today that he should run the Ukrainian nuclear power plants. I suspect that is because if the United States owns it in his mind, one, you can maybe get a pretty penny out of it by controlling Ukrainian energy in its entirety and making a lot of money off that. But then also simultaneously, Russia won't be able to bomb it because it's now an American nuclear facility. You know, that beautiful security assurance by selling your country to the United States of America.
Saying that they won't accept.
Sorry, Trump made Putin wait? No, Putin made Donald Trump wait for an hour before they talked. Not only did he make Trump wait for an hour before they talked, he was live, like he was on camera. He did this on camera.
Ammunition and weapons from the Europeans, from the Americans. They will not accept that.
Well, last night, President Trump said that the issue of aid never came up on his call with Putin. But this morning, the Kremlin is responding, insisting they did talk about it. And President Zelensky said this morning he plans to speak with Trump today to hear more about yesterday's call. Tony?
Weijia, thank you very much. A high-stakes 2-hour call today between President Trump and Vladimir Putin ended without a full agreement to implement a ceasefire, but the Russian leader did agree to a temporary halt to attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure as long as Kyiv agrees to do the same. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said his country is going to support the pause as well, but later Zelensky said Russia had launched a barrage of drones toward Ukraine in an attack aimed at civilian infrastructure across the country and included a direct hit on a hospital, he said. Clarissa Ward reports from Kherson, where the streets are often empty and residents say they're targeted daily by drones in the sky.
On the streets of Kherson, anyone is fair game. Every day, swarms of Russian drones glide across the river on a deadly hunt that locals have dubbed a human safari. They target the old and the young, men and women. Flying low, they taunt and terrorize their prey. A man crosses himself, preparing for the worst, before the drone buzzes on. Others are not so fortunate. Russian social media is awash with these videos, complete with heavy metal soundtracks and gloating.
It's really interesting how closely this resembles Israel-style activity, by the way. Also, not lost on me that they never have done a piece like this about Israel, for the record. Damn, don't tell Israel about this tech. What are you talking about? Israel does this too. Hello? What do you mean? Yeah, it's you know who's doing it in Israel? Probably fucking Russians who are doing it in Israel too, okay? This isn't like smoke for Russians in general. I'm just saying there are a lot of fucking Russians in Israel. It's one of the same. Bullshit, RF are not targeting civilians? Come on, dude.
Comments. But to the people of Kherson,
maybe not to the
this is
same,
anything.
maybe not to the fucking same degree as the Israeli military is. Fair, you know, but the idea that they're not fucking targeting civilians is ridiculous. They absolutely are targeting civilians and also civilian infrastructure. This entire piece is about them doing just that. Also, that is an absurdly, insanely low bar. Like, imagine being like, well, they're not targeting civilians to the same degree as Israel is not a bar, okay? That's not, you can't, what? It's like saying Israel's not doing a genocide. They haven't set up concentration camps yet, you know? It's not the Holocaust, literally, so I guess it's not a genocide. That's what it sounds like.
But a game. So this is the central square.
How do I know if this actually happens? Have I been to Russia? Is a great question. Just like I have not been to Israel, just like I have not been to Poland in fucking the 30s, leading up to the 40s, I just don't know. I don't know at all. I can't confirm because I'm fucking Andrew Tate. That was the entire argument that I had with Andrew Tate was like, he was acting like you can't make inferences off of like established research. Like he knew the world was flat because he had seen it. He'd gotten on a spaceship and saw that the world was flat. Top G.
Square here in Kherson, and you can see it is eerily deserted. Just a few people out on the streets. It was raining and cloudy earlier, which means sometimes more people go out because that's not good weather for flying drones. But now, again, just a handful of people.
Oh, no, sorry. He knew it was round. He wasn't a flat earther. I apologize.
Basically boarded up.
I forgot.
The one supermarket open is heavily fortified. For Kherson residents, the simplest daily errand is the riskiest part of the day. Some can't even get to the supermarket. We drive to meet volunteers from the local administration.
So we're heading now to the eastern outskirts of the city. This is one of the most dangerous parts of the city, and they're getting ready to distribute some aid. They have to do it quickly and efficiently to ensure that they don't get seen by the drones.
The area is very exposed. We're told to hide our body armor under our coats.
Okay, so we've just arrived at this point. You can see they're starting to distribute the...
I just want you to understand something, by the way. She can't do this in Gaza because Israel won't let her. Israel is a foreign ally. Russia is a foreign adversary. She can do this in Ukraine. She can't do this in Gaza. If you want to understand the dynamic there, like, if you ask me, Clarissa Ward would love to go to fucking Gaza. She would. She has. She is literally secretly using, I think it was a Qatari envoy, snuck into Gaza before. Think about that. Russia is a foreign adversary. Israel is our ally. And Western journalists were not allowed to go in during the fucking ceasefire this past month. Western journalists were not allowed to go in. There was only a couple Western journalists that were allowed, and they were only allowed in one specific area inside of where they were drop shipping humanitarian aid. That's it. And all of that footage was censored too by the military censors. Yeah, she snuck into Gaza once. I know. The first ceasefire, the 7-day ceasefire. I know. I'm talking about that. This is in Ukraine, though, Kherson. I know. That's my point. My point is Russia has access. They can fucking laser her. You think they can't drone strike her right now? She is under threat. Yeah, keep watching CNN for accurate coverage. Okay, you got him, chatter. I mean, I do watch Fox News for accurate coverage as well. Don't worry. My point is, she cannot do this. She cannot do this within reach of Israel. She can still do this within the reach of Russia, but she cannot do this within the reach of Israel. This is not to defend Russia in any capacity. I think that much is clear. You know where I stand on this, but just understand it's to show you the depravity of our foreign ally.
Beleaguered residents emerge from their homes, where they live largely stranded. They grab supplies for neighbors who need help. They've lived through Russian occupation, then liberation, now this. Ina and her granddaughter tell me that life is so hard here. But there's no time to be afraid. She goes to collect her box of supplies.
So I told her that she's very strong, and she said everybody here is very strong. We have to be.
Not bad.
A man sets about repairing the roof of his home, undeterred by the near certain prospect of future attacks.
So they're saying that they have heard from the army that Russian drones have taken off from the other side of the river, so they're telling us to move on now.
We speed through the roads back to a safer part of the city. Nowhere in Kherson is really safe. The local hospital is surrounded by sandbag barriers.
Часто стреляют здесь. He says they hit here quite a lot. That's why there's all these protections outside.
Across Kherson region, there were more than 2,000 drone launches just last week. The aftermath of that staggering statistic clearly seen here. Alena Shigareva says she and her friend were walking home from work when they were hunted. We were two women, all made up, without hats, carrying flowers and wearing white jackets, she tells us. They could see we were women, not soldiers. It's just horror. In another room, 19-year-old Boris is recovering from lung and leg injuries after the minibus he was traveling in was hit by a drone. 2 people were killed and 8 wounded.
Chatters are like, bro, you don't understand. This is like, Russia doesn't strike civilian targets. Come on.
They are Russians. What can I say? He tells us. They're animals. Nothing else to say.
Pretty much every room in this entire ward has someone in it who has been injured or maimed by a drone. The doctor says they have 28 drone injuries that they are treating at the moment. This is just one of 3 hospitals that serve this city, and he said the number has just been going up and up since last August.
We steadily receive 90 to 100 patients injured in drone attacks a month, he says, and there were 20 attacks in 1 week on the hospital's generators. Russia has frequently targeted Ukraine's power infrastructure in this war, but rarely has it so flagrantly pursued civilians. We can call it a hunt for civilians, Mayor Roman Brochko explains. The Russians send fresh drone units to Kherson region, and they train by attacking ordinary people with drones. Then send these units to Donetsk and Lugansk. Then they send another new unit here to continue the human safari.
Ukraine is Hamas, according to Russia and Israel. I mean, that is... The arguments are the same. So yes, Russia behaves exactly like Israel. You're not wrong.
What can you really do to protect people here?
There's no panacea to fully cover the city because the Russians are developing their technologies, he says. There's no jammer that can fully close the sky.
Sources of Zionism not trustworthy? Yeah, I know, Clarissa. Sally, shut the fuck up. I know. I'm very familiar with Clarissa Ward's work, okay? I know what she did in Syria, and yes, I know what she did in Israel. She is a careerist, okay? She is a careerist. Sometimes she does really good journalism, okay? Like when she snuck into Gaza. Other times she does really bad journalism. it's not always at the behest of the State Department or its agenda. It's usually just because she wants to elevate her status as a war correspondent. Okay? How do you believe this then? How do I believe this? I believe this because I also believed when she went into fucking Gaza. All war correspondents and foreign correspondents to a certain degree will toe the State Department line. But there's no reason to disbelieve the accurate reporting in terms of what is happening in fucking Ukraine. Why would you not believe that? Hold on. Doors open. I personally can't believe a systematic liar. Okay, well then she lied about the conditions in the Gazan hospitals too, I guess. Hey, Fiona.
And so the people of Kherson suffer on. As outside powers bargain for an end to this war, nowhere are Russia's intentions felt so intimately. Clarissa Ward's.
How do I know that it's accurate? What do you mean? I have fucking eyes, dude. Like, I see the Telegram channels too. What are you talking about? Like, what are you disputing from her coverage here? That, like, what, Russia hasn't invaded Ukraine? Is that what you think is going on? Like, it's all just made up? I believe other sources more. Which source? Like, what? Explain to me what in this coverage, because sometimes she does real journalism, other times she does shoddy journalism. What are you disputing in her coverage here? Just say what you are disputing in her coverage. Other source RT. No, Russia Today or Al Jazeera. Wait, what? Al Jazeera. Okay. What are you talking about? Is Al Jazeera saying that, like, Russia is not invading Ukraine or something? Explain to me what you are disputing with her coverage here. Because Clarissa Ward is a self-interested careerist. Okay? She is. Which is why she sometimes does ridiculous coverage. And for the record, before people say, oh, Russia Today is a unique predicament because, like, they're so insane with and so wishy-washy that it's impossible to, like, tack them to a certain ideological framing on anything. But yes, Russian sources like what is it, TASS? Like, Russian sources are also valuable in understanding what the Russian propaganda looks like. I will never discount a source across the board and never look at it, because it's important to understand what the Russian side is thinking as well, or what they're actually saying as well in this process. Yeah, let's take a look at what Al Jazeera is saying. Russians in Kherson train on civilians. Deadly drones stalk South Ukraine. Oh, look at that. There you go, chatter. Here is a resource that you actually don't dispute. I dispute that Russia is targeting civilians. Okay, well, Al Jazeera also goes against what you're saying. Perhaps it's because it's happening. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Dışarı mı çıkarıyorsun? Okay. Arabanın bataryası vardır inşallah. Bilmiyorum ben. Murat çünkü son kullandı. Okay.
CNN, Kherson.
Well, CNN has reached out to Russian authorities for comment on Ukraine's.
After more than 6.
All right, we're gonna do the JFK. Okay. Oh, someone ran in here. Hello. Look, the mayor is here. Okay, go. Fiona, go. We can still look at Clarissa with a critical eye. I do. Of course I do. It could be a Ukrainian soldier dressed up like a civilian. Bro, it's so funny when people just want to be like, you're doing Israel propaganda for Russia. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. Come on. Yeah. Chatter is one step removed from being like, no, dude, you don't understand. The Ukrainians are using human shields. Ukrainians are using human shields. Oh my God. Yeah, Ukraine wood. They're doing Pali wood in Gaza, and they're doing Ukraini wood in Ukraine. Slava wood. Telegenic babushkas.